Welcome back to the Side Chat Podcast. This will be our third question and answer. A lot of people have been requesting us to do one for a while. And I believe that Cobey is going to ask the questions, and Moevil and I are here to answer them.
Yep. All right. First question from King of Rotterdam 16. How do you guys know each other?
I'll let you two start that one.
Yeah, I met Cobey first. Dear God, almost 10.
2000. It was 2004. Yeah.
Battlefield 2.
Yep.
We used to play on this server called Windy City Gamers. It was I guess you could say, top 5 rated server, always full. And eventually joined their gaming clan, and it was a pretty good thing for a while. Met a lot of great people there.
Yep.
A lot of those people are still around in the community. And I have some very funny early memories of Cobey. A lot of screaming, a lot of blaming other people, a lot of crashing. Kind of same thing we do now.
Yeah.
Moevil, you want to go ahead, Moevil? Moevil probably say it better than I can.
So, a buddy of mine, were playing this game called APB. It's basically a cops and robbers game. And we were the robbers, obviously, because, being good is just not in our forte. I think we had just done something in the game and robbed the bank or whatever, and we were outside and looking for a car to steal to get away. Meanwhile, this gigantic SUV loaded to the hilt with a bajillion guns turns around the corner, runs over a car, hits a pedestrian. This dude jumps out with a rocket launcher and annihilates the cops. He's like, "Hey guys, you want to ride?" And that's how I met Bohica.
What a great story. That's awesome.
That's what I do.
Yep.
That's great.
That was a one-shot deal. We found our driver for life.
That's awesome. I thought you played Battlefield 2 with us, Mo. I guess you did. I thought you did.
Yep, I didn't come in to play till the last Battlefield.
Oh, nice. Cool. All right, next question from the Battlefield Master, parentheses, Matt. 2 questions, actually. Number 1, what is your favorite military branch? For me personally, it would be the United States Chair Force.
Chair Force, nice. Yeah, I don't think I have a favorite. I mean, it's just really hard to say that kind of question. I would probably choose the Navy, just given the history of World War II and what the Navy did in the Pacific for the most part was pretty amazing. But I don't really have a specific one that I like more than the other.
I read a lot of U.S. Army and Marine history. I like both of them equal. But usually I have more respect for Marines, especially in history, U.S. Marines, because they've always done more with less, and they're usually in worse situations. And I always found, the stories of their perseverance and just, I guess you call it grit, more fascinating than the U.S. Army. But the U.S. Army's had some amazing engagements history, too, so it's always a toss-up between those two.
Fair enough. That's a nice explanation. Second part of this question, what, in your opinions, are the 3 most important aircraft of the Pacific Theater and the European Theater in World War II?
We're going to have a little debate probably about this.
Yeah, it's not going to be good.
The most important aircraft in the Pacific honestly, was probably the Dauntless.
Yeah, it's hard to argue that. I mean, if you're saying most
it
important in terms of what it did, yeah, I mean, the Dauntless was very powerful. I mean, it sunk the majority of the Japanese carriers. Is that right, Cobe?
Yeah, at Midway. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
And after Midway, it sank a ton of cargo shipping of the Japanese.
Yeah, and destroyers and stuff like that. After Midway, when the Avenger finally reached the squadrons, they kind of when the Helldiver finally reached the squadrons, they kind of put the Dauntless on the back burner a little bit. I'd also honestly probably say the PBY Catalina. In fact, if anything, that's probably the most important aircraft of the Pacific Theater, just because of how much different stuff it did. It was a night bomber. It was search and rescue airplane. It was all sorts of stuff.
But we need to throw in there the FM-12s, H-6K4s, all those other. Kind of have to throw all those together, right? I mean, the H-6K4 did the same thing for Japan.
Yeah.
The Japanese, those 2 large boat planes did a lot of work that you won't ever see in War Thunder or movies or anything else, because it's not very glamorous work, but those are the ones
not glamorous at all. Yeah,
they did all the intelligence and saving lives and etc.
Yep. Well, that war was a very unique theater. You're talking about a sea war across thousands of miles of open ocean. So scouting was a huge deal. That's why the PBYs and the HKS had so much work to do. There's so much ground to cover.
The last one has to be the A6M2.
Yeah, I would agree.
That's a beautiful choice.
That was the most advanced fighter of its time, and it devastated a lot of countries.
I would agree.
Including ours.
All right, 3 most important in European theater World War II. For me personally, I would have to say the B-24 Liberator, the A-26 Invader, and the ME-109.
Yeah, we have to throw the 109 just as 109 because we can't sit here and split the E3 from the K4. That 109s were important from day one to the close of the war. P-47 comes into play in my book just due to how many sorties it flew and its air kills.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I have to say Spitfire 109s. I mean, those two alone. I mean, let's take the American planes out of it for a second. The heavyweight battle that the Spitfires and the 109s had was an epic clash. And so those two definitely are the top two in my book. Mostly because I love the 109. I love everything about it, the way it flies, the way it maneuvers. And I've read several books from 109 Aces. The 109 for me is my favorite plane, bar none. But for a third plane for that theater would have to be the P-47. The Jug was such a multi-purpose plane for the Americans.
But we need to bring in the IL-2. We cannot ignore. No, I'm serious.
Yeah.
The most produced aircraft.
Yeah.
We'd be idiots if we didn't mention the IL-2 in this group.
I'd also mention the Mosquito as well.
That's a good question. One of the things that happens being American is that we just don't see a lot of the Russian history. When we're taught history in school, it's all about the American perspective. So yeah, absolutely. The IL-2 was an amazing aircraft, and if we had any Russian,
I wouldn't call it amazing. It just there was a ton of them, and it did its job. I wouldn't call it amazing.
Well,
hey man,
it's just like the Sherman tank.
Buddy.
It's satisfactory, but when you put 1 million of them out there, they get work done. Same business, same thing with the IL-2.
Yep.
35,000 something built, most produced airplane ever.
Cool.
All right, next question is from Chris, Mindless Cyborg. If you could play any game over again, what would it be?
Ooh, that's a good one. There's some oldies but goodies. I might go the original Call of Duty, the one with the World War II variant. That was a great game.
I'll one up you and say Medal of Honor Allied Assault.
That's a great game too.
I played the shit out of that game.
I feel like this might be the hardest question I've ever had to think about.
Well, because there's so many. I mean,
Yeah.
you have so many great memories from so many games. I mean, APB. If we could play APB again from the very beginning when it was new, that game was a hell of a fun game.
For 15
at that
minutes.
point.
For 15 minutes it was. Let's
Yeah.
delete that from.
All right, but it was a really good 15 freaking minutes.
You get rammed.
Mass Effect is a game that I kind of wish that was something I just picked up for $10. That I fell in love with. That I'd like to re-experience that. I'd like to find another game that I had that same experience of picking up, from a bargain bin. A game that I played the entire trilogy of. There's others like Command and Conquer Red Alert. If I go way back.
Oh man, that's a good game.
There've been some really great games that you just, the best ones always seem to be the ones that you're not hyped up for, just ones that somebody hands to you, or you
sleepers.
bargain bin, or you,
Yep.
somebody gives you a CD
Sleepers,
key.
yep.
Those are great games.
I'd also like to mention the game Redneck Rampage. Now, I'm not sure if anyone remembers that game, but I played the living hell out of that game. Hours and hours and hours. That game was a blast. It's old. It's from like 95, 96. It was a long, long, long time ago. All right, next question from Nathan Workhoven. When did you start playing War Thunder? And where did you hear about the game?
Cobey and I first heard about it shortly after 1.29. I think it went open beta right around that
I
time.
think it was 1.27 actually.
Right at the very, very end of 1.27.
Yeah.
We watched a Rabba's video where it was a Bowfighter Mark 6, right? Where he dressed up as a Canadian policeman.
Was it a Bowfighter? No, it was a Beaufort.
Beaufort. Anyway, Canadian policeman. We're like, that's he was. Rabba's was being funny as always. But we're like, Cobey and I has always been looking for good World War II games. We never heard about War Thunder. It wasn't being widely publicized in the U.S. at all. And we're like, what the hell is he playing? That actually looks half decent because every World War II game we played to that point was crap for the most part. And that's why we started playing War Thunder. And I think Mo started playing because we dragged him into it.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys dragged me right into this thing.
Yeah, it was pretty sketchy in the beginning because you had to download the client from a sketchy Russian website, and you weren't sure if it was in like an actual real deal or it was pretty freaking sketchy in the beginning.
Yeah, I think you guys even told me that. You were like, "It's not a virus. I swear, it's not a virus, Mo."
Yeah, yeah.
That was before the US page launched.
Yep, way before that. All right, next one is from Nate Toaster. What were your first gaming experiences like? What games did you play, and how old were you?
I mean, gaming experiences, that could go back to like Atari. I mean, I'm showing my age here a little bit, but yeah, I mean, my first gaming experience was playing Pong on an Atari. I think I was like 5 years old, and It was pretty cool. But I mean, really, you want to get into brass tacks. I think the first time I really enjoyed gaming, really enjoyed it, was Nintendo Duck Hunt. Man, I played some serious Duck Hunt, buddy.
For me, it was Tetris on the Game Boy.
Nice.
We weren't allowed to have video games when I was a kid. My parents were very anti TV and anti video games, and they allowed my brother and I to get a Game Boy, and we played the shit out of that thing. We both played Tetris a lot.
I was gonna say, my parents were the same way. I didn't own a console until I went to college. So my first gaming experiences was at the neighbors playing Super Mario, Duck Hunt, Sonic, and so on. And then like Tetris on the computer, like Cobey just mentioned, because that was the only thing that was on computer at that time. And then when I got to about 13, I started building gaming PCs, and that's how I got into some of the games I previously listed, like Red Alert, the first Call of Duty, and etc.
Exactly.
All right, next question from Tilster Rules. Who is best at video games / War Thunder out of the three of us?
I mean,
What do
that's
you
a
think of the
loaded
supposed video
question.
game crash that people keep talking about? It is a loaded question.
So the first part of that one is who's best at video games in general, and who's best at War Thunder. I'll tackle the first part. Of us three, the best pilot is Bohica. I'm not going to
Yeah,
question
I would
that.
agree.
Yeah, but in best in games, there's no way that Bo beats us in first-person shooters. I will wreck his sorry bum ass.
I'm good at third person stuff. I really am. I always have been.
Yeah, you beat me up in Max Payne 3 pretty brutally.
Yeah.
I'll admit that.
Yeah, but in games in general is just too big a genre to try and tackle. There's so many different games that people have different skills on. I mean, I can't even begin to talk about some of the games we can play. It all
All
depends.
that I know is that I can farm this shit at a farming simulator.
Yeah, Cobey beats
That's
me
all
at
I'm
Farming
gonna say.
Simulator, Euro Truck Simulator.
Yep.
What else? Max Payne 3, I'll give him that one.
And we all three lose to spin tires every
Yes.
time.
Yes. All right, second part of the question. What do you think of the supposed video game crash that people keep talking about? Well, personally, I've never heard of a video game crash. What is this video game crash?
I've done a podcast on it last summer.
Did you?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I kind of addressed it where there was like a golden age of gaming, I believe, in the mid 2000s. The gaming industry keeps evolving. Modding used to be very important and existent in the early 2000s, and then that kind of got put a can on. And then you got to the age of DLC. Now you have season passes. Now you have this and this and this. Now you have early access. You have crowdsource funding. You have open beta,
Premium.
etc. And so more and more stuff's getting. This trend cannot continue, and at some point, studios will collapse. The gaming industry has never been healthier though, from this point of making money, but it cannot continue at this rate of just putting out crap, because that's what happened in the 80s, which caused the first major gaming crash. I don't think the gaming crash is going to, shut down EA, Activision, 2K, or, any of the big giants. It's these, your beloved kind of smaller ones are either going to get bought up because they can't pay their bills, or, game titles are going to be abandoned, which they have been. There's going to be consequences for the actions of these actions that gaming companies are doing. But I don't think most of the games that we're seeing are going to go anywhere. They're just going to be picked up. Like, you're going to see a lot more acquisitions. Like, I know Moevil, Cobey, and I are used to EA snatched up everything we loved as a kid because just grab this studio, grab this studio, grab this studio. And you may see the giants start to do that again as these smaller companies are... It's expensive to make a game. I don't think people realize that these price tags, that they put on games now, like Destiny, almost $500 million, and GTA was almost $500 million, and so on. That's not because they want to make an expensive game. That's just what it costs anymore.
I don't think for one instant that the big box, the EAs of the world or these other big stores make the best games anymore. I mean, it used to be when we all started playing games, the little token studios really put out amazing games that actually worked when you bought them. And by worked, I mean they didn't require 30 patches to actually be playable. And I think we've gotten too used as a community, too used to allowing these companies to put out patches nonstop in order to get to a game to a playable state.
That's just it. We've been trained over the years to accept it, and it's bullshit as far as I'm concerned.
And the other...
Well, Payday 2 just released this, 26 piece of DLC.
Shit.
And as much as I kind of like that game, 26 pieces of DLC? What?
Yeah,
How's that
it's
okay?
ridiculous.
Give it a break, seriously. Give it a
And
break.
the other problem we have is the fact that like you said, these these big AAA titles are coming out, and people, I think people in general, consumers, think those are the only games to have fun with, and that's so not the case. I have more fun playing, War Thunder, World of Warships, you name it. These little small games, or give me DayZ. I had fun playing that game. Than I need to play, these massive titles like Call of Duty, which just don't generate the fun I had.
Yeah, you have like the AAA, you have kind of like the free to plays that kind of fit somewhere in the middle, and then you have a lot of great stuff coming up from indie developers.
Yep.
And like I said, the gaming industry it's always evolving and changing, but I think sooner or later there's going to be
A reckoning.
Yeah.
Yeah, there should be.
Has to be.
There needs to be. Next question is from Saturn or Saturn. I don't know what the hell this is supposed to be because it's all caps and not caps and everything else. Question: when will you get your pilot's license? For me personally, never, because pilots are babies.
Well, you need to explain more on that.
Flying is not fun unless you can afford it. So my advice is to become a doctor and buy an airplane. Don't make it a profession.
You're pretty close to your pilot's license, though, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
They'll never let me have a pilot's license.
No, they won't.
Yeah, I'm on that same train.
I'll pull up to an airfield to, go to the first day of flight training, and they'll call the cops. That's how that's gonna go.
That's because you're gonna show up with in your flight suit with your helmet and everything ready to go, with your Beretta strapped to you.
I'll be riding my Black Kawasaki Ninja, giving a thumbs up as I go around the parking lot, and they're like, "No, no, get out here."
Next question from Marvin Shorer. What do you think of the current state of balance? I would assume he's talking about War Thunder.
This was a question I got repeatedly, so I just picked his. I think this was probably asked 10, 15 times. I've talked about a little bit actually talked about quite a bit in the past, and I've stopped because it's just like I was a broken record player, talking about almost every video. The battle rating system, as I've stated this, a year and a half ago, I don't think the battle rating system could ever work, and I still believe that. There's, what are we at now, like almost 400, 500, 600 something vehicles in this game. It's impossible to come up with assigning a decimal point to this where this works with this, with this, and especially since it seems like Gaijin can't use common sense whenever they put new vehicles in, as we just learned this patch. There needs to be multiple ways of looking at this. They want to have a balanced game by putting battle ratings on it. I don't think that's possible. Me personally, I'd like to see more of a historical or year-based matchmaking, but I know that's not exactly 100% great either because you have planes like the 1943 Boomerang, that's basically a 1941 or 2 aircraft. And then you have planes like the B-24 and the Ferdinand, the tank like the Ferdinand, so on, that would move way down. You'd have things, but war's not fair either. I'd like to see the things that are supposed to overperformed in real life or were devastating in real life be devastating in this game. And I'd like to see a way that War Thunder could say, like, we'll put 4 bombers on this team instead of 8 or 16.
Yeah.
Or we'll put X amount of fighters or X amount of attackers. Nothing's more. My balance issues really come with me trying to fly like a P-51D Mustang and then looking around seeing 9 B-17Es around me. I'm screwed. Because either those bombers are going to bomb out everything and I never even get to touch another fighter, or they all die and all of a sudden I'm looking at the entire enemy force versus me. That's my real problems with balancing is they need to set the X amount of attackers, X amount of bombers, X amount of this, and put the 262A against P-51 Mustangs, but allow like 223 in a game. If you put the battle rating downward to face P-51 Mustangs, everybody would fly the 262. They need to really take the time and figure out something that works for everybody. And I would really like to see a way, it's so complicated because I'd really like to see Corsairs and Hellcats, just for immersion's sake, be stuck to Pacific matches. Because, and this is just the historical part of me just going, I'm sick of flying Hellcats over Berlin.
We had a match the other day where we were all of us, we were over the middle of Germany. Every single person on our team was in a fucking Navy airplane. Every single one of them.
Yeah. We made jokes about the carriers.
I know that's asking for a lot because that's going to increase queue times and it's not the ultimate answer, but that's just what I wanted from this game was something a bit more immersive and a bit more balanced, and a bit more this and a bit more that and blah, blah, blah. I know it's asking a lot, but there's got to be a way to get this to work better than it is now.
I would agree. Well, do you have any more comments?
No, that pretty much says what I think too.
All right, next question from Super Gamer 73. Why is Cobey always mad? I'm not always mad, believe it or not. I'm not.
That
For the
doesn't
most
sound
part.
very convincing.
Doesn't sound very convincing at all.
For the most part.
Well, what you guys don't see is behind the scenes sometimes. Like for our spin tires videos, we gave Cobey a lot of shit. So yeah, he got
Mhm.
mad at us.
And it just depends on what day I'm playing. I have a pretty stressful job, and sometimes when I come home from work and I play around and Bo records it, it's extenuating circumstances sometimes.
There's a difference between Tuesday
Fair
night
enough.
Kobe and Friday night Kobe.
Yes, absolutely. It's night and day. Yeah, yeah, seriously. Next question from Flaming Arc 7717. What's your favorite alcoholic beverage?
Go ahead, Kobe.
I like cider.
Yeah, Kobe and I are big
Hard
cider
cider
fans.
is my favorite. Yep.
We've been getting into Crispin. I do some JK Scrumpies. These are kind of, I guess, artisan ciders, if you will.
Yep.
I don't think we don't really do like your run of the mill stuff.
No. I like hard cider because I just like it. It's really good, and hard cider was the first drink brewed in America,
Wow.
so it's very historic.
That's
Yep.
Mr. Patriot, huh?
Hey, we're just doing our due diligence.
Yep. It's good. If it's good enough for George Washington, it's good enough for me.
Yes.
My wooden teeth are in the mail.
My favorite beer is out of a little town called Shiner, Texas.
Shinerbach.
Shinerbach, yeah. The other one, though, I do like is Red Hook out of, I guess, what is Seattle?
Seattle.
Yeah, Seattle,
Yep.
Washington. And then there's Full Sail, that's out of what? That's out of the same area, right?
I think it's out of Seattle as well, yeah.
But those kind of smaller brewery beers is usually what I stick to. I don't know if you can call those small anymore, but
Micro brews.
yeah, that's usually what I stick to. I stay away from mainline
Yeah.
beer as much as
I'll take craft beer over that. Yeah, I don't particularly care for beer, to be quite honest with you. If I had to pick my favorite beer would probably be Blue Moon.
That's a good beer. Yeah.
And I like it, but that's it. As far as spirits though, I like vodka the best probably.
Yes, vodka.
But see, I like mixing shit in it. Vodka with other stuff like orange juice and cranberry juice and even apple juice. Vodka and apple juice, even though it's sickening sweet, is actually really good.
That has got to be retardedly sweet, but yeah, I'll have to give that a shot.
I just drink whiskey.
Yeah, we know.
That's all I want is whiskey. I just go to the liquor store that's 5 feet away, literally from my place, and I just go, "What's on sale today?" This this fine company from Kentucky is.
Nice.
Next question is from Squire Flyer. If you had to name your 6 favorite with a U things about England, what would they be? Hashtag Yorkshire pudding.
Nice. Well, 6 is a lot.
No,
if
6
anything,
isn't a lot.
my first favorite is Kate Middleton. Sorry, guys. That's number
She's
1.
taken though, Mo.
I do not care.
Yeah, you're gonna care when the freaking British Royal Army shows up.
My second favorite is Pippa Middleton. I love the British Navy. I think there's so much history in the British Navy. I love the way they name their ships. Very powerful, very awesome Navy.
We gotta mention Blair.
Okay. Well, yeah.
We gotta mention the Arctic Monkeys.
Yes.
You're gonna name all
I'm gonna name all yeah,
bands,
which is
okay.
a lot of them. So I'll stop there.
Okay.
But we can go down music forever.
Yeah.
We can talk about cars. I love British cars. I always have.
You're not an owner of a British car though, so you don't.
That's
you love
that's
them
out of my
now
tax bracket.
until you buy one.
That's out of my tax bracket. Okay, I love
Yeah.
I love looking at Aston
When
Martins.
you got to take off the front end of a Jaguar to change a headlight bulb, talk to me about that.
Right.
Even though most of the British cars are made in Germany now, but anyway.
Yeah, or Mexico.
Yeah. What else is there? What?
I don't know. That's a good question. I got a full list of 6.
There you go. Go for it.
I love British TV. I watch a lot of PBS, like Masterpiece Theater and stuff like that, because I grew up watching that stuff. So I absolutely love British TV. British music, I love too. I love Britpop. I've always liked it. I always like some of the new bands that are coming out of Britain now, like the Enemy and the Coral and the Arctic Monkeys and stuff like that. I love that shit. Galaxy chocolate bars, HP sauce. Number 6 would probably be everything about the UK. I love the UK. I'd move there in a second. Except for the fucking crazy ass backwards driving that you guys do over there. You're on the wrong side of the road.
Yeah, it's a nice place. Nice place. I need to go visit.
Next question, Dexter. What are your most favorite German fighters? I think we know what Moe's is.
I'm 109, man. And if I have to pick a variant, obviously it's the F. I like the F variant, but yeah, 109 is a beautiful plane.
I'm pretty partial to the Butcher Bird.
I don't know. I don't think I have a favorite one, to be quite honest with you. Honestly, my favorite's probably the Heinkel 112.
Really?
Yeah, I like that thing. The B0, the B1 is actually quite a little fun airplane to fly in War Thunder. It's quite a lot of fun. If you read up on the history of the Heinkel 112, it's actually very sad what happened.
Yeah, didn't they all get handed off to Romania?
I was kind of...
For the most part?
Yeah. Well, what happened was the Heinkel 112 was in competition with the 109, be Germany's next fighter back in the mid-30s, and Ernst Heinkel and Adolf Hitler were not on the best of terms.
Well, he wasn't a Nazi, correct?
He was not a Nazi, that's correct. Yeah. That's part of the reason, yeah. So, in the meantime, the Messerschmitt 109 won the competition and was built. Some Heinkel 112s were built. I don't know. I always kind of root for the underdog, so Heinkel 112 for me. We
also need to mention the HE-112s that defend the factory. I always found that story fascinating.
Heinkel had their own air force, and they used 112s to defend their factories against oncoming bomber attacks. I think they had... I got to look at the numbers, but I think they had 12 or 13 airplanes that they used. They had their own pilots. They were armed to the teeth. They defended their own airspace.
Nice.
Next question is from Dill Pickle 307. What do you guys think of the B-45, and should it be in War Thunder?
Well, I'm going to plead ignorance.
Talking about the B-45, Martin made it. What the fuck was the name of that airplane? I forgot what it was called. What the hell was it called? Tornado.
You got me. I'd never heard of it.
The B-45 was the very first U.S. jet bomber designed from the get-go as a bomber, not as a fighter bomber. It was four-engined. It looked a lot like an A-26 Invader on steroids, kinda. Really, really weird shaped. It had an A-26 tail.
Nice.
It was actually a pretty good airplane. The problem, though, is that in War Thunder, I don't think it's going to do very good because most of the B-45s were converted to reconnaissance airplanes as RB-45s, and they didn't drop bombs. They took pictures instead. Remember, we had a lot of B-29s still. B-29s were a lot cheaper, and they were a lot better. So I don't know if we're actually going to see the B-45 in the game whatsoever, and if it does, it'll just be as a straight day bomber, and when it was not very good at it.
What is the introduction year on the B-45?
I want to say probably 1949-ish.
Okay.
48, maybe? I don't know when it was. It was developed right at the end of World War II. Designs were started towards the end of the war, so I don't know exactly when it went into service. So it's the
first generation jet bomber that was basically a production prototype that was quickly outdid by other things.
Yes, yeah. It was very quickly outclassed. War Thunder and bombers just don't get along very well. The game with bombers is just not designed right.
Destroy everything, or they explode when they first see anything. They can't get a nice balance.
There's no happy medium. There's not enough strategic targets for them. I personally think they need to spawn a lot farther back than where they spawn now because they're usually 10 or 15 miles ahead of everyone else, and then they get shot down, and then they bitch and complain, why didn't you escort me? Well, because you're at 30,000 feet, 15 miles away.
It's very hard to climb up to those guys quickly.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely.
Yeah, I was thinking about Hokkaido, how you always have the Wellingtons that are about 5 or 6 miles above. Well, they're forward and above you, and you're trying to climb to them. Mm-hmm. And then they're coming back to you screaming, help, 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 and you just watch them die because there's nothing.
Because they're the first ones to meet the enemies. Always, always, always. They need to spawn at a lower altitude farther behind the airfield so that by the time the fighters get off the ground, they're just coming over the airfield and the fighters can get up and escort them. But then again, you need people that'll escort them, and no one in this game wants to escort bombers at all. They want to go kill everything that they see in sight. All right, I'm getting pissed off. Next question. SCP-049 asks, would you guys like to see Japanese armor in War Thunder ground forces? Also, what kind of cars do you drive?
All right, let's answer the first one. I think that Japanese armor should be added, but only for Tier 1, Tier 2, and then leave 3, 4, and 5 blank. Let Japanese armor be only an early tier group, please don't put in Japanese force fences like E8s or E2s or Pershings or.
Yep.
I would like to see. I would like.
Is what they'll do.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what I fear because they're trying to put in Japanese Tier 5 planes, which I'm still. My stomach's a little queasy about this still. But the Japanese had some really good tanks that I think would do okay in Tier 1, Tier 2, or I think it will surprise a lot of people. But they need to do it correctly, and I really hope they don't just ditch all the Japanese tanks because there's not enough of them. Just put what we have, let the players who want to play Japanese tanks, let them play it, and that's it. Don't try to force a full tech tree in there.
I would agree 100%.
Yep, spot on.
All right, cars.
What kind of cars do you drive? Speaking of Japanese, I happen to drive a Japanese car.
So do I. Cobey and I are eco-friendly Japanese hatchback drivers.
Well, mine's more of a station wagon, but yeah, I have a Subaru 5-door.
What do you have, Mo?
I drive a Dodge Hemi pickup truck 4-door.
Of course you do.
Beast.
America.
I also have a Jeep CJ7 though, an older one.
That's nice. What year is it?
The 82.
And it wasn't wrecked making the A-Team or making Knight Rider or making Airwolf?
Right.
That's rare.
Yeah, I picked it up. It was a shell. I mean, it was just bare bones shell when I got it, and did a complete restore on it.
I've always wanted to do that to an old Land Cruiser. I think it'd
Painted
be cool
it
to have.
army green.
Nice.
Yep. My baby.
Next question from Dark Tales. What is it you enjoy most about making videos? Being able to create content to lift someone's day and make them happy, or is it that you can have great times with great friends and be able to share those moments with others?
A lot of the stuff we've always done. Cobey and I,
Yeah, it's true.
We've done this for years and years and years, and I used to have an older YouTube channel. It was kind of crappy. There wasn't very many people sub to it, but it was just for that Battlefield 2 clan I mentioned. We just kind of put fun nights on there just for others, as memories and so on. And this channel just kind of put stuff up for fun, and people saw it, and then the channel just kind of took off, and I added other things in there for, like this podcast series we've been doing for education purposes, and, different things to try and help players, but we also want to entertain players, and it's kind of a balance. But for me, it's just, we'd be doing this stuff if we didn't have the YouTube channel anyway.
Yeah, basically what you guys see is just how we play. I mean, really, that's the honest to God truth. It's not really edited. It's not we don't purposely go out and do stupid shit to make to have a good time or whatever. It just kind of happens. It's just the way that we play, and it's always been that way.
I've been really lucky to find a great group of people since, like I said, 2003, 2004 that I play video games with, and so I thought it'd be fun to put it online.
All right, you guys ready for the next question?
Yeah, I know what it is.
Good. Is it bad?
This question is from Bismarck, our very own German, Korean, Finnish friend. Question for you, Mo and Cobey. If there's any country you could live except the USA, which one would it be? Make sure that they know that I asked it. Meaning Bismarck asked it. I have a list of countries, actually. If I could narrow it down to one country, it would probably be Canada. I love Canada.
I don't think I can do Canada.
Have you ever been to Canada? I'd do Canada in a heartbeat.
I've been to Canada in summer. I've been in Michigan in winter. I don't want to go any more up there.
Yeah, but you need to go farther west, dude. British Columbia is beautiful. British Columbia is by far the best part of Canada.
So you're saying
it really
Toronto is not a good picture of...
No, Toronto's a nice city. I love Toronto. Toronto's a great city. I've been there many times. I have a cousin who lives in Peterborough, which is just outside of Toronto. It's a beautiful place there, too. The winters suck, but BC's better. Imagine Seattle, but with kinder people and less people.
And clean.
And much cleaner, yeah. And less hipsters.
I just avoided all the people in Seattle because they scared me.
Well, then you need to move to BC. Because it won't be an issue.
Alright, what countries will be else on this list? If I had to move to Europe, it'd probably be Sweden or Switzerland or some country that I don't think they'd hang Americans. We'll start with that.
Probably the UK, then.
I don't think I do very well in France, Poland, Germany. Russia I wouldn't make a day in. Maybe Austria. Maybe the Austrians would like me. I'm not sure if they'd be very receiving of me. I'd probably go, honestly, if I had to pick somewhere else to go, it'd be somewhere in the Australia, New Zealand area. Just go hang out down under.
Tasmania.
Yeah, somewhere down there.
I'd love to go to Tasmania.
Some beach where you fuckers will never find me.
Yeah, I'm going to make Bismarck really happy with this answer, but it's kind of a no-brainer for me. I'm only one generation removed from right off the boat from Germany, so I have family there still. Germany would be no problem for me. I would be happy to go back. Got to learn the language, which wouldn't be easy because I'm an idiot, but
no, it's not that hard.
Germany.
English is based on German. That's really easy.
really easy. You heard that first.
Yeah, it is.
German language is very easy.
It is. It is really. I mean, once you get the fundamentals, it's actually a very easy language to learn. Next question. Warrior 4121 asked, where did the Taco Bell Liberation Front monkey get its name from?
I can't even answer that. I have no idea.
This goes back a long ways, actually, before... So that Battlefield 2 server I was mentioning, several of us were in college at that time, and we couldn't afford the Windy City Gamer. It was like a $10, $15 a month due you had to pay to be in that clan. Was right, Cobey?
Yeah, but I never paid.
Well, now you tell me.
I don't think I ever paid. I don't remember paying any money. I might have. I very well could have. I don't remember that though. To be quite honest with you, that was a long time ago, dude.
$120 a year though for a college student is not happening.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
So Papa Gadoosh and I, who's the guy you see once in a while on the channel, we were like, screw it, we'll make our own clan until they accept us for free or whatever. The TBLF name came from, he was taking a counter-terrorism course, or sorry, not just a terrorism course. I guess that sounds wrong. It was a class about terrorism. I don't know what you call that now. And what the professor...
A jihad class.
No, it's not a jihad class. Anyway, counterterrorism class or whatever. He had to take some weird elective. Anyway, the professor was like, I want you all, if you had to make a fictional terrorist group, fictional. Of course, this would never fly in today's world where NSA would kick down your door. Fictional terrorist group. What would the name be and what would your cause be? And at that time, Taco Bell had the spicy chicken wrap. They had the spicy chicken Crunchwrap Supreme. A lot of great stuff for those who remember that. And then they took that dollar menu away. And so that was the Taco Bell Liberation Force was going to liberate the dollar menu items that disappeared, which we never have, sadly. That's where the name comes from. It's a pretty stupid story. But the name's hilarious, I think.
Name's the best part of that story, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, it is. The story sucks, but the name's awesome.
Next question. Rare Hunter 308 asks, Bo, when was the last time you ate at Whataburger? And you notice I said it right. Whataburger.
It was November. It was a Sunday morning, 11 p.m.
It was 62 degrees outside.
It was in Jacksonville, Florida. I was there to see a Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Kansas City Chiefs. I believe it was a single quarter pounder possibly with cheese, jalapenos on a roasted bun, and then it closed. And I don't think there's any Whataburgers left in Florida.
Okay, can we put the argument to rest now?
What?
You pronounce it Whataburger, not
Whataburger.
It's Whataburger.
Well, you do.
Correct?
I say Whataburger. That's how you say it in Texas, and you yell at me constantly that the pronunciation sucks. So for you, I say
because
Whataburger.
It's Whataburger. It's not Waterburger.
Oh my gosh, there's
No
other fellow Texans around here right now to back me up, but we Texans don't speak English too good. We just speak our own. If you haven't noticed, we have our own. We have our own special vocabulary.
Texas is a very special place.
Which, to fit into the rest of the United States, I've had to abandon or bury down deep the words I want to say. I can't say sack. I can't ask for a Coke. I can't say over yonder. Hey, y'all, I can't say any of that stuff. Anyway, go on.
I'm hearing this bullshit.
I know.
Next question, Flaminarch 7717 again. If you had to fight in any World War II tank, what would it be and what position would you choose?
So, any World War II tank, given the odds, I like to live, so, I think I'm going to be a Tiger, and I want to be the gunner. I want to see what the hell's going on. Tiger, gunner, that's my choice.
I pick a tank destroyer, but that's not a tank, so I'm going to actually follow the question completely. It comes down to, I'd actually rather be in a light tank, and it'd either be the M5 Stuart, or the M24 Chaffee. I probably want to be a driver, because as we all know, my driving is superior. That's a joke.
Yeah, just watch GTA. Yeah. Yeah.
Watch the
There's
GTA
not a road
streams.
sign anywhere that's safe.
Yeah.
No, but the thing is you gotta remember, war is, 95, 99% downtime? And you're just sitting in a tin can doing nothing? I at least want to drive. I at least want to have... If you're in a tank, I at least want to have something, a position that I could determine how we're going to live or not. You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to get behind cover or... You know what I mean? If you're in the other position crews, you're just... If the driver drives out in front of a Tiger, you're dead. That's his fault, I at least want it to be my fault.
I would like to be in the tank that doesn't get blown up.
That's...
Just in general, the tank.
Yes. Yes. That's
correct.
correct.
If we were doing this drinking, we'd force you to take a shot right now.
Anything not sitting on the shelves.
Patton's D-Day army, sitting there in his little fake blown up Goodyear made tank
Yep.
by himself
right.
playing cards. That's where Cobey wants to be.
Yep.
On the
Playing
on the
solitaire,
on
you
the shores of
goddamn
England.
right. Yep.
Oh my god.
Nothing wrong with that. Next question, Starkflieger. If you guys were shot down by flak and a bomber in real life, who would be the first one to bail out?
Kobe.
Well,
That's
it depends. No, it depends.
It does not depend.
Yeah, absolutely, it depends.
Was it second or third night, GTA 5, first time I was in an airplane. The plane was already pre-damaged. I get up in the air, the right propeller stops spinning, and I go, oh, Kobe, it appears we need some maintenance. And then the left propeller starts slowing down, and I said, I'm going to set her down the lake. And then I hear the door open. I look to my right, and there's Kobe running along the wing, and then swan dives off the wing into the lake. And I'm like, well, thanks for the confidence.
Yeah, Kobe's the first one out, guaranteed.
It depends on if we were over enemy
It's a
territory.
B-17. You're trying to shove your head and torso out the window. The little sliding window you're trying to get out.
Yep, absolutely I would. Fuck yeah. All right, that is all the questions, my friends.
All right, let's talk about... So, I know the podcast's been coming up pretty slowly. I was waiting for 1.49. We're going to try and do for sure, a Sea Fury podcast. I'm sure Kobe would love to do that one.
Yep.
We are going to try to do a Firefly podcast, because there's a lot of confusion about this new play in the game. We are probably on the sooner than later side going to attempt to do a Sky Raider podcast as soon as I can unlock it and get some footage and feedback from that plane. And then after that, we will expand. Hopefully, we can do... People have been asking, there's going to be a VOD podcast in the future. There's going to be a Lockheed podcast. And then I would like to push it to talk about some more battles. Possibly we can do something for D-Day. I don't know if that's something that interests you guys, possibly for next month. And so on. It's just been... We're kind of waiting for Warthog to put out content because, I want to do good podcast, and it's just waiting for getting the planes in game and then doing the research and blah, blah. That's kind of been the holdup. I'm glad we were able to do the question and answer session for those who have been asking nicely for a couple months now. I've been working on some videos have been kind of slow to upload lately. I've been working on a lot of background stuff for the channel. I put up new banners for the Twitch channel. For those of you, people ask me all the time, do I have a Twitch channel? Yes, it's in the list below, twitch.tv/BohicaIce. A lot of people ask for a Patreon account. There's now a Patreon page if you are interested in that type of thing. There is also new thumbnails for the front page. So I've just been working on a lot of stuff like that. And hopefully we can get some new videos up for 1.49. We're still working on getting some GTA 5 content. Mo is now in World of Warships with me. We've been trying about 2 or 3 times a week to get something good with that. So we're working on some other stuff and some new stuff for the channel. So that's kind of where we're trying to push this project into the next level. And thank you all for listening.
Appreciate it, guys. Have a good night.
Yep. Bye.